If you've only ever skied in the US, then your first European ski trip might feel like entering an entirely new world. And I mean that in the best way possible. The mountains are bigger, the food is better, and the experience just feels a little more relaxed and somehow more affordable. In this video, I'm breaking down the biggest differences between skiing in Europe and the US, and why Europe might be the better choice, especially if you're someone who takes 1 or 2 ski trips a year rather than being on the mountain every other weekend. And if you stick around to the end, I have a special invitation for anyone who's planning a European ski trip for this coming winter. Hey, I'm Angela. I moved from the US to Europe 6 years ago, and skiing quickly became one of my favorite ways to explore the continent. Since then, I've skied in Italy, Austria, Germany, and France, and I've picked up on a lot of the subtle and not so subtle differences between how Europeans and Americans approach ski vacations. Today's video is all about helping you understand what sets the European ski experience apart and why it might actually be a better fit for the kind of ski trip you're hoping to plan, especially if you're a casual skier or someone looking to get the most value out of a winter vacation. Before we dive in, if part of you feels overwhelmed by the idea of planning a trip to Europe, whether it's for a ski trip or not, then check out my free email course, How to Plan a Trip to Europe. I'll walk you through every key decision from budgeting and booking flights to choosing destinations and packing smart. It's totally free, and you can sign up using the link in the description below. Let's talk about what makes skiing in Europe so different, and in many ways so much better than skiing in the US. These aren't just surface level differences. They shape the entire feel of a ski trip from the moment you book to your very last après. Lift tickets in Europe are often half or even a third of the price you'd pay at major US resorts. In the States, prices have skyrocketed in recent years, with day passes sometimes exceeding $250. A big reason for this is corporate consolidation. Companies like Vail Resorts now own many of the big name American mountains, and the focus has shifted towards maximizing profits. Does anyone else remember the 2024 Park City Ski Patrol strike? It was all over staffing and pay, and the images that were all over social media were these long lines of skiers who couldn't really access the lifts. In contrast, European resorts tend to be independently owned, and the cost of skiing reflects that. Ski school lessons are more affordable, and accommodations, many of which include breakfast, offer better value. Many European ski resorts are interconnected, meaning that one lift pass can give you access to multiple mountains and even multiple towns. It's not unusual in Europe to ski from one village to another and back again in a single day. In fact, you can even ski across borders, which is kind of fun. You start your day in Switzerland and ski into Italy. Very cool. Compare that to most US resorts though, which are centered on a single peak or ski area. The scale and freedom of European ski networks makes the experience feel bigger, more adventurous, and less repetitive. Another difference that surprises many Americans is how slope difficulty is graded. US resorts use green, blue, black, and double black diamond. In Europe, it's blue, red, and black, with red being equivalent to a strong US blue or a weak black. While a lot of US resorts tend to manicure some of their off-piste offerings because they know that skiers love it, that's not as common in Europe. So if you're going to go off-piste skiing, know what you're doing, or better yet, go with a guide. European ski resorts are serious about food, and not just in the hotels. On the mountain, you'll find cozy alpine restaurants, regional specialties, and even the occasional Michelin-starred lunch spot. In Cortina, we had fresh pasta with truffles. In Megève, an absolutely amazing piste-side lunch at a Michelin-starred restaurant. And in most places, it's completely normal to do this, to take a long seated lunch with wine or beer before heading back out for an afternoon of skiing. In contrast, ski food in the US tends to be expensive and uninspired. Burgers, pizza, cafeteria-style meals. But they're still expensive. Table service isn't as common in the States, and lingering over a glass of wine, practically unheard of. Skiing in Europe isn't just a sport, it is a cultural experience. Every country, and honestly, every region, has its own ski culture, from the social scene in Meyerhofen to the refined elegance of Megève. The lodges, the après, the music, the spa culture, it all varies wildly. And that variety is what keeps travelers coming back. You're not just skiing different mountains, you're immersing yourself in different cultures with each ski trip. In the US, fresh powder is often treated as the holy grail, especially out west. Resorts market their snowfall totals and skiers chase storm cycles. But in Europe, the emphasis is more on well-groomed pistes. You'll still find powder days, especially in higher altitude or glacier-fed areas, but the average European resort focuses on smooth, consistent corduroy. Après ski exists in both the US and Europe, but it totally hits different in Europe. I mentioned this in the culture part, but après deserves its own section. In Austria, après starts mid-afternoon and includes dancing, music, and full-on celebrations at slopeside bars like Bruckenstadel in Meyerhofen. In France and Italy, it's more about aperitif and catching up with friends at a wine bar. In the US, though, après ski often happens back at your hotel or a local bar. If you love the idea of social skiing and celebrating every run, then Europe absolutely delivers. One of the biggest logistical perks of skiing in Europe is how close resorts are to major cities. In the US, ski towns often require a rental car or an expensive shuttle. But in Europe, you can hop on a train in Munich and be in Garmisch-Partenkirchen by lunch. Many major resorts are accessible by public transportation, and some even have lifts walking distance from town centers. That makes ski trips feel more spontaneous and less stressful, especially for international travelers. If you've skied in both Europe and the US, I'd love to hear what stood out the most to you. Drop it in the comments. And if you've only skied in the United States, tell me which European resort is on your wish list. European ski season generally mirrors North America's, running from late November to mid or late April. High season hits around Christmas and New Year's, and then again from mid-February through March. But here's the key. The quietest, most affordable weeks are often late January or early February, which line up beautifully with long weekends in the US, like on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. President's Day is also a good option, but you're kind of gonna be in the middle of high season. With a little bit of planning, you can turn those long 3-day weekends into a full-blown alpine ski trip. And one other thing, you really don't need a full week of skiing. In fact, I have become a really big fan of a 4 or 5 day ski weekend. You get enough time to ski, but you don't feel like you've been, working out 5 days straight like you would with a full ski week. If you are thinking about skiing in Europe this winter, I'd love to invite you to my upcoming live stream. It's called Trip Fix, and it's where I help real travelers improve their itineraries in real time. The first one is all about skiing in Europe, where to go, when to book, and how to make the most of your time on the slopes. I'll be joined by one of my ski trip besties who I've done multiple ski trips with, and we'll be sharing some personal stories, favorite destinations, we'll answer your questions, and we will hopefully also choose our ski resort for the upcoming winter season. Use the link in the description below to register, and I will send you a reminder the day before the live stream happens. Or click right here to watch the replay. If this video got you thinking about skiing in Europe, don't stop there. My next video breaks down the best beginner-friendly ski resorts in the Alps and how to pick one that fits your trip. Tap here to keep planning your European ski adventure. See you on the slopes.